little bit of Eoghan to you now. How many of you have seen The Quiet Man with John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara, 1950s movie? Quite a few of you. All right. My family used to watch that every St. Patrick's Day. And that was sort of our Irish thing that we did together. And there's Maureen O'Hara's brother in that movie is called, or the character name is Red Will Danaher. And he is ready to fight you almost instantly just for looking at him wrong. And he's, but then he likes you after you beat him up a little bit, which probably is worth a lot of money to a therapist. But that's kind of what I was, his voice especially was what I was thinking about when I was writing the Owen Kennedy chapters, the Archdruid chapters. And I found as I was going that I had to write in several chapters in the same voice, because if I tried to go sequentially the way they're laid out in the book, I would get slowed down and I would mix them up. And so once I said, well, I'm going to write several of the Archdruid chapters all in a row and then put them back in together after I write several Granuel chapters in a row, put them in order later, then things went much more quickly for me as I was writing. So, so anyway, I'll read a little bit of the Archdruid. The way I pictured him talking is a little bit different from the way Luke Daniels does it. I don't have any input on his performance, by the way. That's all, his thing, That's what he's paid to do and perform, and so he chooses the voices and he does his stuff. So he does a fabulous job, but I have a slightly different voice in mind when I'm writing it. So I was going to read you just a little bit. Chapter 6 is where Eoghan first shows up, and here we go. Oh, by the way, is anybody here actually from Ireland with a genuine Irish accent? Good. that means that you won't really know how bad I'm screwing this up. Eoghan says it's great to have a name like Owen Kennedy in this modern world. Kennedy was president of the United States not so long ago, which I guess means he was fucking important. I should be proud that someone of my family name rose to be such a great leader. Of course, says he, John Kennedy was a Catholic, and Catholics were the ones who drove the Druids out of Ireland. Stab me in the tit, why don't you, I says. But then Eoghan says this JFK was a good source as far as leaders go. All the Kennedys were while they lasted. While they lasted, I says. John was shot to death, and so was his brother. They never caught the bastards who did it. Well, now you're just throwing rocks at me stones, I says. Life must be a kick in the head for you right now, he replies, and he's not far off. It's more like a bucket of cold water every few seconds. The cars and the buildings and what the hell people wear on their feet these days. And fucking plumbing. Eoghan introduced me to that modern miracle after he took me to the woods to drink his thrice-stemmed tea. I never would have thought that taking a dump could be a luxury instead of gambling with your arse every day. And when I asked him why he didn't let me use one of those toilet things to begin with, he says it's because everyone knows that a bear shits in the woods. And then he laughs like he's fucking funny. I don't know what my bear form had to do with it, but I told him a bear kicks arse in the woods too, and he'd be finding out personally if he messed with me anymore. You should write all of this down, he says. It will help you learn the language faster and process everything. Druids don't need to write anything down, says I. And how did that work out for us, he says. The Romans were able to wipe us off the earth and we never got to tell our side of it to history. Most of your time, most of my youth, it's all gone because no one wrote it down. All the world knows is based on what someone dug up out of the earth, and rocks with a few scratches of Eoghan script on them, marking land boundaries, tell the world very little about how things really were. But the world knows about Julius Caesar and all the Caesars that followed because they wrote everything down and it survived. We need to write if we want the world to know about us. I'll do it with you. We'll write together. He has a point. He's still an enormous cock-up mind. But I have to admit that Eoghan has the occasional moment of competence. If I ignore the embarrassing side effects, that tea of his did me more good than a week of sex in a cave. I have all me dark hair and muscles again, and the ache in me knuckles is gone like he promised. And protecting himself with that cold iron aura so the Fae can't touch him, that was a clever idea. I suppose when I see such things that he's done me proud. But he's also done some other things so stupid that if all the other Druids weren't already dead, I'd have to kill them before they blamed me for it. There you go. That's just gonna go. So, thanks.
So that was a lot of fun for me to write in that sort of voice, in that frame of mind, and kind of get into that zone. And I hope you guys dig the rest of him. You know, he'll be sticking around. The rest of the books all will have this 3 different point of views going on, sort of interlocking storylines, because each of these characters needs to grow in different ways. And I'm having fun. You know, they each kind of represent something different. You know, Eoghan is you know, kind of the fish out of water, and he gets to point out how sort of ludicrous our modern society is by comparison to the way humans used to live. And Granuaile, of course, is the one who gets access to this power that most of us do not believe exists. So then Atticus is the one who's just sort of used to it all and a little bit jaded, but also actually is going to find out that, yeah, things aren't the way he thought they were in this one. So I'm having a good time. I hope you are too.